Hello, welcome. Whew, this is a big day for me anyway, hopefully for you as well. So, hello everybody. So, if you're watching this on replay, this video is all about the practice and the process of healing emotional or traumatic wounding. And I'm talking about it from the context of my new offer, which is Returning to Wholeness, a community for women to come together in sisterhood to heal. So everything that I'm talking about is stuff that we'll be talking about inside Returning to Wholeness. And at the end, I will answer your questions, any questions that you have about the community, about joining, or about any of the processes that I'm talking about. So stick around and feel free to ask your questions. The link, if you want to go ahead and sign up, check it out. The link is pinned at the top for you to check out. So don't leave me. You can open up another little tab or something, and you can check it out or sign up. The tiered pricing is in effect, so just be mindful of that. So, hi Diane, hi Neve, hi Amanda. Nice to see you. Some of you I think are already in. So welcome. So you've heard me talk a lot about healing and in a variety of ways, what we need to do to heal, what's important for healing, what is not particularly helpful for healing. And of course, all of that is from my perspective. But my perspective comes from my own personal experience and my professional experience as a trauma therapist for 20 years. So I want to talk to you a little bit about it in this way that I have kind of envisioned returning to wholeness to be. Thinking about what does it really ultimately mean to heal, and what does it take to be able to get to that place where you feel truly rooted, like so deeply rooted in the truth of who you are, in your wholeness, and be able to feel that sense of freedom that comes with that. What does that really kind of look like? So I'm going to talk about that here. And if you join me in Returning to Wholeness, we'll be talking about it a lot in there. And I'll be sharing all kinds of things to help you in that process. Hi, Denise. Hi, Via. Welcome, everybody. Please keep saying hi. So, all right. First, I'm going to take a deep breath. It's been kind of a little bit of a stressful couple of days trying to get this ready to go. It's interesting. I talk about the healing that I've done, and I feel like I've done a lot of healing, and a lot of the things that used to bother me don't really bother me anymore. Or if they do, it's pretty insignificant in terms of the impact that it has. For some reason, launching Returning to Wholeness has kind of brought up a little bit more anxiety than any of the other things that I've done before, which is so weird. Because the other things are kind of a little bit more intimate. They're a much higher price point. But this somehow feels a little bit more vulnerable, honestly. So, hi, Rosie. Hi, Barbara. So anyway, thank you for being here. So I think of kind of the path, the journey of returning to wholeness in kind of 5 steps in a way. Didn't really think about it that much before, but I know that there's things that need to happen. There are things that need to happen along the way, right? So initially, and I've done a video about this, but initially, you have to be able to get to a place, and in Returning to Wholeness, I refer to it as opening. And it's really about allowing yourself to honor all of you. All of you. Because for so many people that struggle We use naturally, this is natural for pretty much everybody, regardless of trauma history, but we tend to use coping mechanisms that keep us from being able to really fully acknowledge experiences, the impact of the experiences, or the struggle that it creates. And in doing that, we often, if it's addressed at all, it's kind of addressed with a band-aid. It's like, let me do this thing real quick, or let me learn this thing real quick, or however it looks for you to fix it. And then I'm going to go on with my life. And you've heard me talk about this, that doesn't work. It doesn't work for emotional wounding. And again, emotional wounding can encompass a variety of experiences all over a spectrum. So trauma is certainly one of those things, but it doesn't have to be trauma. It can be the really kind of simple things that a lot of children experience, even if nothing technically bad happens. So we do things to not really recognize, whether it's not being aware, not like avoiding it, so not wanting to deal with it, minimizing it. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of people have it worse. Or the Band-Aid idea, where you do some affirmations to try to change how you think and feel, or you do an energy session or something like that, pardon my voice, and think that that's going to heal you. And that's not your fault. We want that. And so we will search for anything that seems like it has any sense of promise or hope to it and cling to that. But that doesn't work because, as you've heard me say, the long-term impact of emotional wounding is it encompasses every aspect of our being, our body, our mind, our thoughts, our breath, everything. And so healing requires depth in all of that. So with awareness or opening, it is about being able to really look at that and honor that reality, whatever that reality is. Being able to say, yes, this happened, or yes, I have struggled with this for a really long time, or I struggled with this and I thought that I was doing better, but I keep coming back and struggling with this. Being able to really be with that without trying to push it away or feel ashamed about it. Just really opening to that reality. Because if we don't do that, then nothing else can happen, because we don't allow the space for anything else to really be experienced. So opening is the first step. Embarking is what I am referring to as the second step, the second phase of this journey. And that is being able to look at, really recognize and understand. So identifying our core beliefs, being able to understand what they are and the impact that they have on us. And then we work to dismantle those core beliefs, which is not easy, because dismantling those core beliefs is very much like deprogramming somebody who's been in a cult. Because in a way, your mind has become that cult. Those ideas that you say to yourself over and over again about not being good enough, not being worthy, not being deserving, not being good at this kind of thing or that kind of thing, not being good with money, not being good with relationships, not being smart. There are so many ways that we have bought into those types of beliefs. And we believe it oftentimes without even really knowing it. So dismantling those core beliefs is something that takes intentional effort and practice. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. So we dismantle those core beliefs while at the same time reprogramming the truth. Reprogramming. So that truth is already within you, but you've lost sight of it because of the brainwashing, in a sense, that your own mind has done. And maybe with the help of other people too, if you've had people in your life that have reinforced verbally, especially the ideas. So you've actually been told that you're not worthy, or you're not enough, or that you're undeserving, or that you'll never amount to anything, those kinds of things. But the truth is that we say those things to ourselves far more than anybody else ever could, because we are with ourselves 24 hours a day. Even in our sleep, it can happen. So the reprogramming of connecting back to that truth, your wholeness, your worthiness, we do that at the same time that we are deprogramming. And they have to happen together. They have to happen together. So that is embarking. And that is the thing that really takes the longest in healing. And it's an ongoing practice. And the thing that's important to understand about healing and returning to wholeness is that nothing about emotional healing is linear or step by step. It's not things that you can check off a list as you go along and you're done with that and you never have to worry about it again. It just doesn't work that way. So all emotional healing is a process of windy roads, of detours, of getting to a particular place and then having to revisit it because you need that foundation, those roots, to grow a little bit deeper. So no matter how smart you are, no matter how motivated you are, or dedicated, or anything else, it's not something that you just decide, you check off, and then you're there. It is inherently a process of continually practicing these things over and over again. And if you're familiar at all with the idea of healing grief, or like the 5 stages of grief, that's often talked about in the sense that it's not linear, or I don't know if they actually say it that way, but that it's not a step-by-step process, basically, that you don't move from one phase to the next and you're done, that you might be in denial one day and the next day you are in bargaining, or the next day you're in anger, wherever you might land, but it can change literally from hour to hour, even less than that. Or you might be in a particular phase for weeks, and then suddenly you find that you're in a whole different phase again, or a whole revisiting phase again. And that's just the natural reality of processing, because grief is a lot about processing as well. So that embarking phase is the journey, the biggest part of the journey. The next phase is becoming. And in becoming is where we consciously practice. And the conscious aspect of this is very, very important. And this is part of the reason why I think it's so important to have somebody with us on this journey, because we're not naturally conscious people for the most part when it comes to healing emotionally. Because the things that we believe are not always present on a conscious level. In fact, they're not naturally conscious at all, which is why we have to be intentional about the conscious practice. So becoming is a conscious practice. It's about time. It's about trying new things. It's about trusting in those new things that you're trying, even when they seem like they are not very helpful. At times, it's about vulnerability, because trying new things is incredibly vulnerable. being with yourself, your feelings, your reality that I talked about in opening, that's vulnerable, which is a big part of the reason that I talk about this being such a courageous journey. Vulnerability is an important part of this process. And being vulnerable in community is even more vulnerable. But at the same time, being vulnerable in a supportive community kind of amps up, in a way, for lack of a better way of coming up with an idea right now of how to say that. It kind of amps up the ability to feel, to practice the becoming. Because you get that energy from different places, different sources. So it's not just you, it's not just the therapist that you're working with. It's a community of people that you learn to feel safe with, that you know understand. So it's a lot of practicing, lots and lots of practicing. And in Returning to Wholeness, the soul book that you'll have every month it includes very specific practices to help with continuing on this journey. The next phase is embodying. And embodying is when you've been practicing, you've been learning, you're naturally more conscious of what's going on. You can see, you can kind of connect the dots a little bit more easily in terms of your daily experiences. And in embodying, you recognize that because of all that practicing, that your kind of natural state, your default setting, so to speak, becomes, I often refer to it as kind of like a scale, like the scales of justice, but a scale. When you are in the early stages of healing, it's very lopsided. So your core beliefs keep you really weighted here. And the stuff that you're learning, the tools that you're practicing, all of that is here, but it doesn't carry a lot of weight because this is so heavy. It's so ingrained that even when you're working really hard here, it doesn't make much of a difference. Like there's times that it goes like this a little bit, but then particularly when you're not really conscious of it, it easily goes back here. And that's natural. It has nothing to do with you. So the practice is getting this to become a little bit more even. So embodying, when you're embodying, it becomes this. Because the work that you've done, the continual practice, moves it this direction. So the reprogramming that you've been consciously working on, the felt sense of feeling more safe in the world, of trusting yourself, of knowing that it's okay to feel whatever you feel, that being vulnerable is not weak, that there's no shame, then this embodying aspect becomes more your default. So these core beliefs are still going to be there for a while. It takes a long time for those core beliefs to completely be deprogrammed. But your default becomes, your embodiment is a more natural state of trust in yourself, in your wholeness. And the continued practice over time, and part of the reason that I wanted to create Returning to Wholeness, is that it wouldn't be time limited, that we would have a space together for as long as you need it. And quite literally, people can be in something like this for a few years, or maybe even longer, because it's a continual space to just be. And over time, hopefully people will feel connected to the sisters in this community. And it will be a place that isn't just about healing, but it's about really feeling into that community. But I've created it very intentionally to have that sort of kind of environment and space. So it's not something that we just, these are the topics and then we're done at this point and then you move on. I've done those things and they're great, but people are often, almost always, people, in fact, always, I think people have asked, well, what do we do now? And other than working with me individually, and I often have a wait list for that, but other than working with me individually, there isn't anything that I've had for people to be able to do after something like that. So returning to wholeness is a place to just know that you have for you. It's a place that you can come together with other women who get it, women who are cheering you on, because we're cheering each other on. The more that each one of us heals individually, the more our families and our communities have the opportunity to heal as well, because we are showing up differently. And when we show up differently, it's physics. The things around us also begin to change. When one part of a system, and we are all part of many systems, when one part of a system changes, the system itself has to change in some way or another. It may not be obvious, but it does. And I talk about this a lot in boundaries, when I talk about boundaries in my boundaries course. So embodying is when you're kind of making these new beliefs. Well, actually, they're not new. They've always been there, but you now notice them, you recognize them, and you begin to trust them. It's really allowing the opportunity for that to become your natural state. And with that, as you continue to move through that and practice that going forward, that is deeply rooted. And deeply rooted is when you are able to, without having to even think about it, but in your body, every cell in your being trusts that you are safe and that you are whole. And I'm not talking about safe from external factors, because nobody can ever know that they're 100% safe, because unfortunately that just isn't something any of us can expect. But I'm talking about a sense of safety within yourself that helps you know and to trust in that whatever comes along, that you will be okay. It's feeling deeply rooted like a huge old oak tree, where the roots are so vast, so deep, that no matter what storm comes along, it is still standing at the end. Even if the leaves are missing, even if some branches are gone, that tree is still there. And when the storm is over and the seasons change, the new leaves will come and the new branches will grow. It's not that bad things don't happen. It's not that you're not going to struggle. And it's not that you're never going to feel bad, because life is hard. Life is messy. Relationships are hard and relationships are messy. So there are going to be times that are difficult. But in that space of feeling deeply rooted in that truth, your default is that you take a deep breath. I've been doing a lot of that these last couple of days. And that's your default. You don't have to remind yourself to do it. You just naturally notice that you take a nice deep breath and sigh it out. Because you know that even with all that vulnerability that may be present, and I'm speaking about me right now, you know that you're going to be okay. You trust that no matter what, it's going to be okay. And that is what it means to return to reconnect, to trust in your wholeness. Because that has always been within you. Everything, your ability to weather every single storm, that has always been within you. And if you've experienced trauma, there's proof because you survived. You may not feel like you survived it well, but if you're here, you did. You absolutely did. But because of what you've believed about yourself, you've disconnected from that truth within you. So, whether it is inside returning to wholeness or whatever your journey looks like, all of these pieces are necessary in being able to heal emotionally. And none of it happens quickly. There are no quick fixes. There are no techniques or tools or methods or anything else that you're going to do in a short period of time and are going to heal you. There just isn't. There are things absolutely that can help in a moment or even help kind of longer term, but it's one piece of it. Healing is about incorporating every layer of your being. It is your thoughts. I know a lot of people, particularly in the coaching industry, like talk therapy doesn't help, and talk therapy this, and talk therapy that. And it's funny because I would say that just talk therapy by itself isn't going to help with trauma a whole lot. But also, to be honest with you, any therapist who knows anything about trauma or really hopefully knows anything about mental health knows that you don't heal anything just by talking about it. And if they don't, then if that's your therapist, maybe it would be a good idea to find somebody else. Because healing happens on all levels. Our mind, our thoughts, our breath, our body, our connection to ourselves, to others, to the earth. All of that is required in healing. And all of that will be incorporated into the healing that we do inside Returning to Wholeness. So, if you have any thoughts or questions, please feel free to share. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, registration is now open, so you can click on the link that is pinned to the top. I hope you can see that. If not, I think I can put it again here. I just edited it again just in case. You can learn more about it there and join. So it is a tiered pricing. So if that matters to you, then you might want to check it out quickly. Hi, Sarah. Me too. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Jody. Hi, Lindsay. You have to decide to commit to the process. It takes work and effort on your part, and sometimes the process feels out of your control. But it is in our control to decide to trust the process and heal. It is absolutely in our control. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean that it comes naturally. Going back to that, what is the default? Because control is such an important part for so many people. The need to feel like we have some ability to control the process feels almost like survival for a lot of people. Recognizing that we don't really have a lot of control over that in some ways because we can't rush it. We can't just do all the things and make it happen more quickly. But we do have the ability to choose every day and for the most part in every hour. We do get to choose how or if, I guess, we want to be connected to that. Now, obviously, if you're in a really difficult place and you're being really triggered, there is no choice about anything in those moments. But the idea of sticking with it is something that we get to choose day after day after day. Some days it's easier than others, for sure. Hi, Lenny. I'm glad that you're going to work on Deeply Rooted, the book. Barbara says, I love your description of the stages of healing. I know that your group will be amazing. Oh, thank you, Barbara. It feels a little weird for me to say this, but Barbara said you're very steady, resilient, passionate, and authentic. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. For healing trauma, do you have to reach a place where you can talk about what happened using the correct adult terminology for it? I don't know that you necessarily need to be able to talk about it in that way, specifically in order to be able to heal. But as you heal, you will talk about it that way. So I hope that makes sense. So do you have to use language, correct terminology? And I'm guessing here we're talking about calling it sexual assault or abuse or domestic violence or naming body parts. I'm actually not going to say it here because I don't know if there's any sort of censors or anything like that. Do you have to be able to say those things? Do you have to actually be able to even say out loud all the things that happened to you in order to heal? As a general rule, no. But again, as you heal, because you will have done some healing, you won't feel nearly as vulnerable. Saying those things, talking about those things will not create the same sort of distress that it does early on in healing. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Now, one little nuance to that would be if there is something that you have a lot of shame around that replays over and over and over again, maybe even you have flashbacks about or something like that. In situations like that, sometimes talking about the actual experience, like sharing what that experience was, or using specific language, sometimes may be important. But I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and I've had a lot of people who have not used specific language or even talked about some really traumatic experiences, but have still been able to heal. Because again, we're not healing the traumatic experiences individually. We're healing the core belief that these experiences leave you with. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so if you are watching this on replay, the link, I believe, is in the description. I will update that and make sure it's there so you can join us. Registration will be closing on Wednesday, August 4th. So, and I think it will probably be closed for 2 or 3 months before I open it again, at least 2 or 3 months before I open it again. So if you're thinking about joining, it's a month-to-month thing. You don't have to commit for any period of time. Though I hope you give yourself a little bit of space for yourself, to give yourself time to lean into that vulnerability, to be with some of the uncertainty, to give yourself the space to experience what is possible inside Returning to Wholeness. So you can sign up for a month. Right now it's just 1 month at a time. So you can sign up, and it is a recurring payment. So once you sign up until you cancel, it will be an automatic payment that goes through. So if you have any questions, feel free to share them here. If you're watching this on replay or something comes up for you afterwards, feel free to leave a comment, and I will be checking the comments just to see if there's anything that comes up. You can also send an email to healing@courageousjourneys.com. This is a brand new offer, and it is a brand new platform as well. So there might be some tech issues, which may have be part of the reason I'm a little stressed. But we'll figure it out, because in this place of feeling pretty deeply rooted, I trust that we will figure it out. I trust that if you have even a moment when you feel if you feel drawn to it, that you will trust in that for yourself. And I know that each of us has within us the ability to heal. I also know that we all need support in doing that. And I really believe that healing in community is so important. The energy that you feel in that, the multitude of avenues of feeling that supportive energy plays a role in how much you're able to absorb that, how quickly even you're able to absorb that. So if you're considering it, you have until Wednesday. The price will go up until until the first 30 people sign up. After that, the price will stay the same until the cart closes. Once registration closes, the next time I open it, it will go up. I'm not sure to where yet. It kind of depends on what I end up putting inside of the membership. Because I've got some ideas, and then we're going to see how many people, how much it's likely going to grow, and I'll be adding more things as time goes on. Cheryl says, I love Peggy's group. I can't wait to join again. I did the last session, and I'm still feeling the connection with the others in the group. I have really longed for this kind of connection. I am so honored and happy to hear you say that. I truly am, Cheryl. And thank you for sharing that. The idea of sharing things in community can feel incredibly overwhelming. I get it. I've been there. And that it really does cause people to, even if they're thinking about it, they'll think about it and they'll come up with a reason why it's not the right time. And don't do it, because it's vulnerable. But most things in life that you really value, that you really cherish, came as a result of being vulnerable. Think about that for a moment. If you've gone to therapy and thought it was helpful, there's a whole lot of vulnerability in that. If you have ever been in a relationship, even with a friend, it doesn't have to be a partnership, a romantic relationship. If you've ever been in a relationship, there's a whole lot of vulnerability in that. Even if it didn't end, or even if it ended up ending at some point, there was a time that you gained something from that, right? There was a time that it felt good, at least I hope so. Otherwise, I would hope that you wouldn't have been in it, but I know that too, that's not always the case. Having a child is incredibly vulnerable. Going after a new job, a new career, incredibly vulnerable. Buying a new house, bungee jumping. There are so many things that feel vulnerable. But when we allow ourselves to be in that place of vulnerability, the things that can happen as a result of that are sometimes not only amazing, but can feel, in a sense, almost magical, because you can't really imagine what that can really feel like or be like until you've been able to experience it. And I feel like I shared this somewhere, and I know I shared it in the video that was supposed to be on my webpage, but didn't make it because of some tech issues. But I remember walking out of my first group therapy experience, and I definitely felt very uncertain when I went in there. But I left there feeling like I wasn't crazy, believing. I didn't fully trust it yet, but just having this sense like, I'm not crazy. I'm not a horrible person. in particular, one of the things that stands out to me the most is maybe I'm really not a slut. Like that was really one of the things that I held on to. And hearing other people talk about some of the same things that I experienced, the same ways that I was showing up in the world. For the first time, I knew that I wasn't the only one. And over time in that group, over the next 5 weeks or so, I don't remember how long the group was exactly, each time trusting in that more, really feeling that sense of not being alone in all of that. And while it took a long time to release the shame completely, there was such a release of some of the shame that I had held on to that point. So it's amazing. Hi, Jack. Does this group involve Facebook? Great question, Jody. I will never be on Facebook, so that is often a frustration for me. You're not alone. And to be very honest with you, I've done all my other stuff with a Facebook group, and I've heard from many of you here on YouTube that you don't like Facebook, and I get it. And to be honest with you, I'm liking it less and less. It's really messing with my live videos and stuff, and even my reach. Like I've got like 900 people on my Courageous Journeys page, and like 20 people will see my post. So no, my intention right now, and again, as the membership itself grows, I'm going to add a bigger community aspect. My intention in doing that is that it will not be on Facebook. It will not be on social media. I'm not entirely sure which platform that's going to be, but it will not be social media. It will be a platform that is designed to host communities specifically. So that the ones that I'm thinking right now, you'll actually be able to have an app on your phone, or you can access on your desktop, where we'll be able to share. So it will be similar to Facebook, but not Facebook, or any other sort of social media that's out there right now. That is not going to be part of it right now, this first time around. In part, I'm wanting my founding members to help me understand what kind of where to go, what to add, what would be helpful, what we might want less of, and that kind of thing. So the founding members who come in this week, really, I'm going to be asking for your feedback to let me know what is helpful, and so I can get a sense of how I want it to look going forward. But no, Facebook is not on the agenda for community. To start with, what I have done, because I know people are not on Facebook, and I want people to be able to join us, is I have created a private channel on Telegram. And if you sign up, you'll get information about Telegram. It's kind of like WhatsApp, but it's more private. And I've set it up so where I can share messages with you. So it won't be a place for all of you to communicate together right now, but I can share things with you. So I will be using that throughout our time together, at least for the next few months. That way, and it's a free app. You can download it to your device or your desktop. So in terms of community, we'll be coming together right now. We'll be coming together once a month on Zoom together. And I will talk about that month's topic. I will lead you through an experiential exercise. And generally speaking, this is what it will all entail. And we'll have time, also lots of time for Q&A. So if you're not able to join us live, and as soon as you sign up, there's a survey for you to fill out with just one question, letting me know times, or no, right now that is just for a welcome call, but I will be surveying the group to help me know what times work best for most people. If you're not able to join live, there will be a replay available for you to watch when it's convenient for you. Yes, Kara, yay! Kara is signed up. I was scared, but I did it anyway. It's so hard to have hope and feel like I've ever really been okay. But I feel some hope that I'm moving towards positive change. Oh my God, Kara, I'm gonna cry. I am so excited to have you join us. And I know that there are a few other people here that have joined, but you haven't said so I'm not gonna call you out. So if anybody else wants to acknowledge that they're in, please feel free to share. And I want to celebrate and honor your courage and my excitement to have you join us. So welcome, Kara. So stay tuned. You should have access to the contents, and you will also be getting an email, assuming everything is working right. Jack, thank you so much for being here and being supportive. I know this is just for women right now. One day, maybe I will have something for men. But thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. It's really beautiful. That's what we're here for. Amanda says that's what we're here for, Kara, to show support in some insecurities we might feel. Absolutely, Amanda. Absolutely. This all feels very right now. Yes. Yes. Candace is in. Barbara's in. All right. Yes. Hi, Marta. Via is in. Yes. Hi, Marta. Welcome. I don't know if you've been here the whole time or not. I'm guessing probably not, since you're just saying hello. But people are just sharing questions. And Kara started by saying that she was in. She just joined, even though she was scared. So other people are also sharing that they're in. Isabella is in, still scared of groups, but you helped with how you explained the healing process. It felt safe. Good. I'm so glad, Isabella. So glad that you'll be joining us, all of you. Yes, Marta is in. Will we be able to talk to each other in any way? In the monthly call that we have, so right now, in the monthly call that we have on Zoom, yes, we'll be doing, it's kind of like, and if you've ever experienced group therapy, it's going to have some components that are a little bit like that. So people will have an opportunity to share and connect. Again, as time goes on, as the community itself grows, I am wanting to add a community component where people can actually interact kind of on their own time inside of the space together. And to be quite honest with you, the reason I'm not doing that yet is I wasn't sure how, whether there would be a lot of interest in this or not. And honestly, holding space in a community like that is a lot. I love it. I truly do. I love it. But it really takes a lot of time and energy. And I wasn't sure that I could commit to holding that space right now, because I wasn't sure if I would get 2 people or 200 people. So I really had no idea what this was going to look like. So I'm not offering it right now, but as the community grows, that is my intention, as long as people feel like they'd like it. So that is hopefully going to come. And another thing that's really important to keep in mind about being a founding member. So during these 5 days that the registration is open, the important thing to remember about being a founding member is the price that you join at now will be the price that you continue to pay, even when I'm adding other things. Like if I add that community, unless I completely change how I'm doing the membership, which I don't anticipate, as I add different kinds of things, add additional kinds of videos and that kind of thing, you will pay every month the same rate that you're paying starting when you sign up now in these 5 days. So whether it's 17, 22, 27, or 37, whatever you sign up for when you sign up in these 5 days will be what you continue to pay for the life of your membership. So as long as you stay a member, your rate will never go up, even if it goes up to 47, 67, because I don't know where it's going to go. It depends on what I end up including in here and how big the community grows. So, and the bigger the community grows, the more it makes sense for me to be able to add more things in here. So that's one of the great things about coming in really early, is having that rate locked in throughout the whole time that you're a member of the membership. So something to keep in mind if that matters to you. I mean, it's incremental right now, so it's not a huge difference. But like people who signed up first today are paying $20 less a month than what the last people who sign up are going to be paying. So it might make a difference. Yes, Marta. Marta is in. What if you join now, but financially need to skip a month or two? Will I still keep the original price? So Jody, this is a great question. And so technically the way that it works and the way that memberships generally work and trying to work around this becomes really, really complicated. But right now, the way that it will work is that in order to keep this particular rate, you have to stay current in your membership. So, not missing payments. Because if you miss a payment, then you're technically not really you're not a member any longer, and then you have to rejoin. And when you rejoin, it's a whole different price point. And because I can't go back and have you rejoin again, but once you're not making a payment, then you're taken out of the membership system. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But honestly, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to be able to offer something at a price point like this, and why I wanted to start it at a pretty low price point, because I wanted people to be able to feel like it was something that, and I know even $17 a month is a lot for a lot of people. It was for me at a point in my life. But I wanted to create it at a price point that would hopefully make it doable for people for the long term, that they could keep up with it, whether it's just for a little bit of support or they engage in absolutely everything that's part of it ongoing. So as things kind of settle in and we figure out where things are, we'll work through some of those things, I imagine. But technically, that is the way that kind of the membership platform idea kind of works. So Kelly is in. Cheryl is trying to sign up. Cheryl, are you having any issues? So Cheryl, you should already have a sign, like a log in. So you should be able to log in and then just sign up for Returning to Wholeness. If you're having any issues, you can let me know. If you don't let me know here, if we end, you can send me an email to healing@courageousjourneys.com. So I am so excited. So for all of you who have joined, just since we've been on here, again, as soon as you join, you should be directed to another page where you should see contents, a little menu button up at the top that says contents. Click on there, and there is a PDF and a video. And you should also get an email that has the same information that the PDF has, because yesterday the email was not working. So I had to find a way to get that information in there. I'm telling you, it's been a stressful couple of days, but it's out there. Everything I think is working okay. But again, there might be some snags along the way. So if you have any issues, even if you're already signed up, but you have an issue with something, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, healing@courageousjourneys.com. I want you to be able to have access to this. I don't want it to stress you out. Stressing me out is okay. It's my thing. I don't want it to stress you out. So if you have any issues at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Barbara, so in your, okay. So I know that you said that you were not able to log in. So that means that you also didn't get redirected, I'm guessing. Because the way it should work is after you sign up, so after you complete your credit card information, you should see a page that has that top Journey to Wholeness, or not Journey to Wholeness, Returning to Wholeness image. And there should be a little thing with contents, like a hamburger type menu. So it's got like the 4 or 5 lines or whatever it is, and it says contents, and you click on that. What is the Launch Muse? Launch Muse is the platform that I'm hosting the membership on. It's a brand new platform. I've sold Sacred Boundaries in a group on it, but I'm the only client. Okay, Barbara, I will check into that, and as soon as I get off of here, I will check into that and make sure. So if you're watching this on replay or anything else, and you have signed up for Returning to Wholeness, and you did not, after you bought it, you did not get directed back to that big green page there with contents up in the left-hand corner, please reach out to me and let me know. Again, there are going to be some things here that are not going to work properly. And so Launch Muse is this new platform, but the new platform is something that my husband, my IT guy, and I refer to him that way, he's not really, well, he is in IT, I suppose, or was, but it's his platform. He's creating it. I am his first client. And he's had to make a lot of changes because I'm a little particular about things, and I wanted things to work a certain way, and he said it doesn't work that way. And I said, I want it to work that way. Control, right? Things we want control over. So again, there might be some issues. The platform is for you to have access to those things. If it's not working for some reason, I can get it to you. We'll figure it out together. Again, this is where feeling that sense of being deeply rooted can really be helpful on your journey as well. When things are not going according to plan, we can take a breath and know that we can figure it out. Even if I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, how I'm going to get it to you, we will figure it out. That I can promise. And I don't promise much, but that I can promise. Contents menu is kind of transparent and only appears in that corner when you scroll down a little. Yes, it is not very visible, and we are working on that. So thank you actually, Via, for saying that, because I think it is not necessarily all that easy to notice. I think it is easier to see on a desktop. If you're on a desktop, I think it's a little bit easier. If you're on mobile or a tablet, I think it's a little bit harder to see there. So that might be, if you're not seeing it, that might be part of it. Are you supposed to be able to sign into it? You're supposed to be able to sign into your courageous journeys. So if you go to healing.courageousjourneys.com, there you should be able to sign in. I'm glad you trust me, Barbara. We will figure it out. Amanda, this is actually really helpful for me, so I'm glad you're asking this question. So to sign into anything related to Courageous Journeys, healing.courageousjourneys.com. If somehow you've landed on launchmuse.com, that's not where you want to be. And I'm not sure how you would end up there, but this is good information. I will take this to my IT guy. And somebody else actually mentioned Launch Muse as well. So I will definitely check into that going forward. But again, I don't want this to create more stress for you. If you've got any problems at all, reach out to me and we will figure it out. The registration goes through next Wednesday. So I will be trying to stay on top of checking emails for people having any sort of issues and stuff like that. So through the weekend into next week, I will probably do some more lives. I might do one on Facebook, maybe on Instagram. And I might even do another one here on YouTube. If you've got more questions, I am very happy to answer. I might even, actually, I just had the thought maybe I would do a Zoom for anybody who's interested in joining or has joined and wants to maybe ask more questions or anything. I might do that. So stay tuned. If I do that, I will be sending an email. If you're not signed up, and you're interested in learning more, stay tuned because I may be creating an opportunity for us to come together on Zoom. If you're not signed up to my email list, make sure you do that. At this point, to sign up to my email list, you need to go to courageousjourneys.com, and there's a little section there to sign up, and you'll also get a little ebook on using affirmations in a way that can help you heal. Via, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Tamia, I signed up a little nervous. I've never done anything like this before. Yes, Tamia is in as well. It's okay to be nervous. To be quite honest with you, I'm a little nervous. It's so weird because I've offered lots of things. It's weird. This feels different to me. And I think I understand why, but if I'm a little nervous too, to be honest. So it's okay to be nervous. And I think probably everybody who will be joining us has some level of uncertainty, anxiety, maybe even little moments of panic here or there. And that's okay. It's because that energy, that anxious energy, is preparing you, knowing that you're stepping into something that has so much potential for you. I am excited for you. I am excited for each and every one of you. And I really do hope, I would love to be able to connect with you on those monthly calls inside Zoom. Being in a space together and sharing that energy, doing the experiential practices, the guided practices together is just, I'm doing them, but I truly love doing them. And I've gotten lots of feedback from a variety of people about how those moments, those live moments together can be so incredibly healing. So if you're thinking about this, but you're feeling scared, you're feeling uncertain, you think that maybe you don't belong, you do. If you are a woman, somebody who identifies as being female, and you think that there's some healing that you could do, no matter what that healing is about, then this is a space for you.